Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy bringing you guys another deck profile today. I'm thinking of making it GOAT Fridays. I know GOAT is a very, very popular format. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it is called GOAT format for a reason. It's pretty much when Scapegoats came out and pretty much changed the meta. And yeah, it's pretty much a big deal in the GOAT format community. A lot of people run Scapegoats. You could just combo off with it. Not only is it good for defense, but it's also good for offense, especially when you combine it with Metamorphosis and come out with the one and only Relinquish, and then pretty much take over your opponent's boss monster. So it's like pretty much a free change of heart. So it's pretty fucking cool, and it's so cool that you get to play these old cards and play, and in a way that kind of is nostalgic in its own, and nothing too new. I think like the newest cards, if I'm going off of TV shows, would be like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 1. I think there's nothing from Season 2. You can use Chaz Princeton's fucking Armed Dragons if you like. So it's fucking cool. I enjoy it a lot, and it makes the game a bit more different. There's obviously a meta in the GOAT format. You have your chaos controls, your GOAT controls, your monarch goats, your monarchs. So you got your top decks going out there, and they are going to put consistency, and they do have a lot of resources, which pretty much makes it that meta. So in any format there's a meta. Unfortunately, there is a meta in this one as well. I wish there wasn't. I wish there was kind of like a little spice to it where you could kind of come out with your own, but unfortunately there is a lot of representation when it comes to these decks. But it doesn't mean that you can't have fun with it. I think there's a lot of ways for you to enjoy the game, and still pretty much come out and just show what you got with your own spice to it, especially if you know what you're doing. I mean, if you have an end goal to it, I think there's a lot of positivity that comes with this GOAT format. But in the end of the day, I'm trying it out. I've never really played GOAT format before. I mean, obviously I played as a kid watching the show. I played with these old cards, or I didn't have a consistent deck. I had whatever cards I would have and then just put them together, and we're gonna ball out and we're gonna play how we play. And I think now it's kind of different because now that I have, as an adult, I have access to money, and I'm able to fucking kind of build a, kind of strategize and actually build a deck I want to build, not just go off of a pile of cards and just go for that. Even though, honestly, I'm being completely honest, if I did have a pile of cards that were all from 2005 and older, I would literally just build a deck right then and there and enjoy it much more than this whole strategizing thing. But this is a YouTube channel where we strategize and pretty much come up with, the best decks to play for GOAT format. This is not one of them. Just FYI. This is my EXODIA FTK build. I wanted to show that my EXODIA deck, FTK skills, and kind of go off with this. I've never summoned EXODIA before, and I was like, what deck should I build for GOAT format? I ended up buying and, making this deck, the EXODIA FTK version of it, thinking it was going to pop up. I practiced with it a couple times. Usually, sometimes it works on the first turn, sometimes it works on the second, sometimes third. I felt like GOAT format, from what I've seen in research, is kind of like, okay, you're gonna have a couple of turns. So with those turns, I'm able to, if they let me live long enough, I'll pop off and pretty much win. That's not what happened here. So I'm gonna show you guys the deck profile. You guys could try it out yourself. It's really fun if you're able to do EXODIA. I unfortunately haven't been able to do EXODIA on a live opponent. I've been able to do it on AIs. I've been able to do it, by myself as I practice with the actual cards, but unfortunately I haven't been able to do it anybody else. I took this to a locals, which is 40-man GOAT format tournament, and I got FTK'd myself on the first turn by what is it called, Delinquent Duo, and then I got FTK'd, and then I lost the second turn when my opponent knew what I was playing, which was EXODIA. He was like, okay, I'm gonna play aggressive, and he didn't let me pretty much play the deck the way I wanted it to. So try it out yourselves. If you have luck, good for you. If you're able to be a little bit more strategic, go for it. I am going to take this deck one more time to another GOAT tournament, and hopefully it does a little bit better. I went a couple weeks ago, so I'm trying to refresh. I made a lot of friends with this deck. A lot of people were like, what are you running? You're new here. And I'm like, yeah, I'm new. And they're like, oh, what are you running? I'm like, I'm running EXODIA FTK, to be honest with you. And they're like, oh, what the fuck? So I was actually running EXODIA. It was like really random because I guess everybody there runs control goats or monarchs, and just pretty much the meta. And I honestly, if I'm playing a format this is like this old, I am not gonna go for meta. I don't go for meta now. Why would I go for meta then? And I want to just have fun with this EXODIA FTK. I didn't have fun, but I am gonna take it one more time and see. Hopefully, if I can EXODIA at least somebody with it. But here's my FTK format of it. we're gonna start off with the 5 pieces of EXODIA. You gotta have this card in your deck. This is the reason, the whole point of winning. So the 5 pieces, and the reason I ran this deck, not only was it because I thought it'd be fun to EXODIA somebody, but I actually have these pieces at home and they're hollowed out that I mint. I never used them. I just put them away once I got the Yugi's Duelist Collection 1 or whatever, which came with the Arcana version of Dark Magician and stuff like that. So they were just sitting there all mint and pretty, and when I put them some nice white sleeves, they were like, play me. And I'm like, alright, I'll play you guys. So we're running the 5 pieces. The Royal Magical Library, literally the key card, like literally if the Liquid Duo 2 of these and you only have 1, you can still kind of play. 1 kind of gets you to the FTK, but 2 for sure gets you to the FTK. So you might have to, if you could go for 1 and do the plays and you draw perfectly and play your hand right, there's a possibility of you drawing and playing it correctly. But once you got 2 magical libraries on the field, it's a fucking game. You're for sure gonna pop off, and it's just so much doper when you have 2 on the field. But if they do Nobleman cross out, which is why I don't recommend you set it unless you have absolutely nothing, then yeah, I would set it. But if you try not to, Nobleman cross out would just be deadly because you won't be able to facilitate your FTK without this card, and you pretty much will lose. And then again, Delinquent Duel is one of our enemies here. Just 1 Delinquent Duel on EXODIA is just over. There's no recycling. You're gonna pretty much go, it's either FTK or bust. So we got the 3 Royals, the 3 Thunder Dragons, for the reason of not only thinning out the deck, but also Graceful Charity combo. Not only do you get these pieces in your hand and get rid of them as soon as possible, but again, just thinning out the deck is just the best way. Sometimes it is kind of dead if you draw into multiple because of Pot of Greed or Graceful Charity or just any reason that you just draw into it, or for reload. So it does happen when it's kind of dead, but most of the time you want it just to thin out the herd and use it for Graceful Charity. Morphing Jar, one of the little text that I had there, a little spice to it. It's mostly for the reason that if you have a pretty bad hand and you have nothing to pretty much go off with, Morphing Jar helps out so much. It thins out your deck, and then not only that, but it gives you a brand new hand so you can play Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's pretty cool. Sometimes, obviously, if you have a piece of EXODIA in your hand, you can't really go Morphing Jar, but it is a really good way to, unclog your hand or just pretty much allowing you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 Pot of Greeds, 2 Pot of Greeds, 1 Pot of Greed, imagine 2, that'd be fucking beautiful. But 1 Pot of Greed, 1 Graceful Charity, 2 Upstarts, 3 reloads. I chose reload over Magical Mallet because Magical Mallet, it's kind of me personally wanting to pick and choose which cards I want, and then not being able to draw the maximum amount. But with reload, I'm forced to just throw everything, and then pretty much draw everything back. So I'm making this into a Magical Mallet, but just reload's a quick play, and I just felt like it was more forcing me to not be picky as opposed to the Magical Mallet. We got the 1 Archfiend's Oath. You just need 1, and not only is it a magic card that you could activate for the Royal Magical Library, and then Giant Trune just brings this card back, and you could just circle around it. But if you are literally just missing the last piece of EXODIA, you have 4 and you're missing the 1, just go Archfiend Oath and just be like, right leg. Just keep saying right leg until you thin out either your deck, or you pretty much call it right. So there's that. Your 3 Toon Table Contest, same reason. Not only is it deck thinning, but also your Royal Magical Libraries will thank you when you're using Toon Table Contest. Toon World, for the obvious reasons. 2 Terraformings for not only the Magical Library, but also to search out Necro Valley, kind of slow down Chaos Control decks, which Necro Valley helps out with that as well. 2 level limit area B. These cards help out a lot with not only stunning your opponent, slowing them down, but also it's a spell card, and you kind of need that defense. 1 source of revealing life for the defense. Different dimensional capsules. You run 3, mostly for not only thinning out, but also to recycle with Giant Trune, and then Royal Magical Library gets that extra card. So not only do you thin out your deck for cards that you don't need, like for example, if you have those pieces and you've used reload, Morphing Jar could be a target that you could just waste. Just pretty much just thinning out cards that you don't need once you're kind of close to the end of your FTK. So different dimensional capsule is such a good card. And then you can also add Magical Library if worst comes to worst, and you're like in the beginning of the day, like, oh, I need this in my hand, or I need this ASAP. you could do it too. But it's mostly just for thinning your deck out and recycling with the 3 Giant Trunades. Giant Trunade is the fucking MVP of this deck. I'm not gonna lie. Him and your cards that stay on the field, like Different Dimensional Capsule, Source of Revealing Light, Limit Area B, the Field Spell, the Tomb World, the Archfiend's Oath. All these cards that you have on the field that are just flooding, Giant Trunade, you bring them all back. That's 5 cards back to your hand, 5 spell cards. Reactivate all of them. You gotta draw, one of them because of the library, and then pretty much, hopefully you draw another Giant Trunade. But Giant Trunade is so good when you have all these cards. Like, that's literally 5 spell counters if you have all these floodgates, and then this will be 6. So you draw 2 cards with this Giant Trunade combo, and then you could repeat, and then if you have an extra spell card, whatever it is, again, you just pretty much draw 4. It's such a good card to have Giant Trunade with these floodgates. So I run the 3 and max them out as much as I can. And then spell reproduction, just to pretty much add, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, just pretty much add these 2 back to your hand, or even a reload sometimes to really come in clutch. But yeah, the spell reproduction is just pretty much there. You get rid of some cards that you don't need. Sometimes you might have multiples of these. You technically don't need multiples if you have the Giant Trunade combo. Sometimes you want to get rid of your Tomb World, your Terraformings, you already have the Necro Valleys. There's so many cards that you can get rid of. You have, most of your deck is spell cards, so you only technically need the 1 or 2. I run the 3 just to max them out, and then if you do have multiples in your hand, you could throw those as well, and add the Graceful Charity or the Pot of Greed. Sometimes you might even throw the Necro Valleys because you don't need them, because if you activate Necro Valley, you can't use this. So it's kind of a downside to it, so make sure you're playing correctly. Again, Giant Trunade brings this back, so you can activate this, then you can reactivate it. So there's a lot of ways to play around it, but overall, that is the way I built this deck. It's EXODIA FTK, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you guys enjoy this deck. I had fun with it, practicing with it. I unfortunately did not have fun using the deck in the tournament. And ironically, during the Go format, they were like, okay, we've had a continuous number of players, we're going to start ranking. And I'm like, we're going to rank? And I'm over here fucking around with my EXODIA FTK. So my rank is like super low on the Go format. But again, my first Go format actual tournament, I'm still understanding all the cards and the decks of the Go format. But to me, Go format is going to be, it's more like fun. I want to try decks that are old, play that old school version, and then just play with cards that are just nostalgic. I have a BLS build, I have a Dark Penitum build, so I have all these builds that I really want to share with you guys, and EXODIA FTK is one of them. I decided to go for EXODIA FTK because I thought it would be crazy just to go boom 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 EXODIA match. Did not go as planned, so this deck, I have it ready to duel, and I'll keep you guys updated on the video. I'll let you guys know how it went on my GOAT format tournament coming up next week on Thursday. So it's every Thursdays over there. I didn't go this Thursday because it's already Friday, but we're gonna go next Thursday, and I'll let you guys know how it went on the next video for the next GOAT format, and then I'll let you guys know what I'm gonna build next for the GOAT format tournament. But overall, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a like, subscribe, and deuces.